It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hello, word nerds, and welcome to another episode of The Dictionary. Oh, I forgot to put in my other headphone. I was like, why does this sound so weird? I usually hear myself in my ear. Ooh, that sounds so much better because I love to listen to myself talk. Today, for this episode, we have a guest. We have the lovely Emily Winter. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm great. I'm very excited to be here. I love talking about words. Even though I'm kind of dumb. Yeah.
Hey, you and me both. We're in the same boat. I was like, I don't know words. Let's talk about them.
Let's learn words.
Yeah, we threw this together kind of quickly, and we don't live in the same state, but we got to see each other in person for, I don't know, the second or third time probably, in the wonderful city of Chicago, where Emily put on a fantastically, wonderfully silly show, and I would like you to tell everybody about it.
Oh, thanks. Well, thank you so much for coming, and I'm glad you had fun. It's called One-Liner Madness, and it's 64 comedians going head-to-head in a rapid-fire March Madness type joke contest. So I started it back in 2015, and I've been taking it around the country ever since. So this was actually only the second time I'd ever done it in Chicago. But yeah, it was a blast, and it's a really cool way to get to know a comedy scene and see what's going on in a certain city. And yeah, the jokes, I thought that the comics were fantastic and the jokes were great, and it made me proud to be from Chicago.
For sure. So you've been doing this for 9 years, give or take. Do you know how many times you've put this show on?
I kind of lost count this year, but I think it's just under 30. Somewhere just under 30. Yeah.
The logistics of putting on a show like this have got to be insane, because you have to get, and you do get some help, I know, especially if you're going to another city that you're not familiar with, but you have to get 64 comedians to show up for this hour and a half period, probably at least 2 hours between pre and post and whatever.
Yeah.
And they have to be prepared. That's not your problem. If they're not prepared, that's their fault. And so, can you just talk a little bit about, what goes into, putting this together and sort of where the idea came from and all that stuff?
Sure. Yeah, it is a logistical nightmare, hellscape. It is, and even after doing it this many times, I still, the day after I throw One-Liner Madness, I hurt from head to toe. It's just so much. It's just, you have to be so on and so helpful, but also because I produce it and I also host it. And in certain cities, I also book it. I didn't book it in Chicago. But yeah, it just depends. If it's a city that I live in or a city that I have lived in where I'm still attuned to the comics, then I'll book it myself. But yeah, so it's a lot, to produce and host and everything. And it's a lot of kids to, not always kids, but a lot of comics to wrangle. I basically just really try to make them feel as important as they are. The show doesn't work if they're not funny and they don't actually bring it. So to me, it's kind of like a roast battle, if a roast battle was nice, because it is a competition, and I want everyone to take the competition semi-seriously, but also I want people to leave even if they got eliminated because it's single elimination. Half the comics get knocked out in the first round. So I want everyone to leave feeling like it was worth it to come out there. I always hire a professional photographer, so all the comics get headshots. So even if you're not, in the top 4 and getting paid out, you're still getting something out of the experience. And you have a headshot that matches all these other comics' headshots to show I am part of this community, and here's a great headshot next time somebody needs one. So, yeah. And how do we think of it? I think it was around March Madness time the winter time in 2015, and I was running a variety show, and we tried lots and lots of different formats, and just for fun to play with comedy. And it was my friend Larry, my co-producer, also from Chicago, who came up with this idea, and he was like, I don't know if that's possible. And I was like, well, I am a psycho live producer. I'm a planning freak. So if it is possible, I am the one to do it. So he came up with he came up with a thought, and I was like, let me see if I can make this work. And it's hard, but it works, and it's kind of magical.
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sure it didn't start this way, but at our show, you've got a whole digital thing on the going on the screen. I don't know if that's probably not PowerPoint, but there's something. So I assume, were you just all handwriting everything when you first started?
Yeah, when we first started, so that's Bracket HQ, which is a
Okay.
subscription website that Larry subscribes to, and we throw the bracket on the on screens wherever whatever venue we're at, so that you can see who's getting eliminated and who's moving on as it's happening live. Yeah, the first one was totally analog, and it was just me printing out a bunch of brackets and bringing them to a little attic venue in Brooklyn. Yeah.
That's awesome. And you've got two kind of co-host referees with you. The show was super fun, really, really fast. I mean, they come up, the comics come up, they can go up to 3 sentences for their one-liners, and it's comic A, your turn. Okay, comic B. Okay, audience, did you like comic A? Applaud. Comic B, do you like them? Applaud. Okay, you're out of here. Next round. And it's like just so super fast. You seem like you've got a good brain for that. You just go off all of the top of your head. And I can see how it's physically and mentally exhausting, but also super, super fun. Trying to think if there are any other highlights. Oh yeah, you said the final four get paid. What do they get?
Yes. So just the way we have it scaled now, I wish that we could throw shows for 1,000 people,
Oh, of course, yeah.
rather than like if we do a weekend, we can usually sell between like 300 and 400 tickets. You saw it on a Wednesday, so there was
Yeah.
like 100 tickets sold. Anyway, we usually pay out the winner 150 and a trophy, the runner up 75, and then third and fourth place 25. So they get something too. And then when I do it in New York and LA, all proceeds go to charity.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um,
What else? Yeah, I think it lasts like the other thing that I've been, because I've been really timing the show a lot lately. It runs about 105 minutes, and there's 126 jokes, not even including the ones that I do and the other comics that are helping judge do at the top as like model jokes. So
Right.
I mean, you'll hear like 130 jokes total in 105
Minimum.
minutes. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Definitely worth the money, worth the time. What was I gonna? Oh, so do you tell them that they have to come prepared with like at least 6 or 7 jokes in case they get all the way to the final round?
Yes, I give them a very long PDF
Yeah.
of all the rules, and then I say if you cannot handle reading a PDF or an email, which some people can't, you can
True.
go on my Instagram, and I have like a shortened version of all the rules in my stories. But yes, I say like it takes 6 jokes to win. So if you stay in and you keep going, you'll end up telling 6 jokes. But I always say if you want to be super prepared, bring like 8, because you never know when somebody's just done a joke that's kind of similar to yours. Or for example, when I did Pittsburgh this year, there were so many jokes about eating ass. So many. So like if you're smart and you have an ass eating joke and you see that no one's winning with these ass eating jokes, then you throw that ass eating joke away and you're like, okay, I'm going to actually do a joke about pineapples or whatever, because this is just not working. So I always say bring 8. Just in some weeks, on rare occasions, we do have a joke off when it's just a tie that we cannot figure out who the audience liked more. So I say bring 8 if you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Wanna
at
be
our
prepared.
show there was one person who showed up late, and so they came. One of the comedians showed up late, and so they were thrown in near the end. And in that situation, you chose him and another comedian to do their competition, and then the winner of that one went with the third person who was in that sort of group. So it did end up being 65 comedians for our
Yes,
show.
it did. Yeah.
And so that one person had to do 2 jokes back to back. The winner of that joke
Yeah.
off. Another really interesting thing that happened in our show was that somebody did not show up, or I don't know what happened, and you went to the audience to find another comedian. And somebody said, "Yes, I'm a comedian and I'm prepared." And she came up and she ended up going through at least 3 rounds. I think that was how often
Yeah,
does that happen?
She did a couple. Well, it usually happens. I mean, I hate to say this because I like don't want comics to think that it's totally cool not to show up, but like there's usually an emergency with somebody at every
Yeah.
show. And so I'm trying to think. Yeah, so sometimes I have alternates that I have like a list on my desk or on the table when I'm hosting, and I'll just go to the alternates. But then usually, I mean, the show attracts a lot of new comedians, or just people that want to go support their friends. And my co-producer Chelsea, who booked the show, is a stand-up teacher at Second City. So that was actually one of her former students that came out to see the show. So that
Gotcha.
was really cool. She was very funny, and I'm sure like if you're a comedian or a comedic writer even doesn't do a lot of stand-up, when you're watching the show, your joke brain is like working really hard, and you're like, gosh, if I were up there, I would do this. And this actually happened in Philly this year. It was just a woman who really wanted to try comedy, and somebody got in a car accident. They were fine, but they did not make it to the show. And so she just jumped up on stage, and she made it through one round. She had a tough time after that, but I mean, for just a person who doesn't even do stand up, I was very, very impressed.
Yeah. So if you are a comedian or if you just love comedy, keep an eye out for this one-liner madness. It is madness. This crazy show. It's super fun. Do you have like a website or your own Instagram where people can like get updates or see the schedule?
Yeah, so I probably do need to give it its own dedicated website soon, but my website is emilywintercomedy.com, and I will post our next shows on there. I got to start getting 2025 ready, but I think we are going to do one more in 2024 in San Diego.
Cool. And it's fun, it's funny, it's high paced, and if you're a comedian, you're like, hey, maybe if somebody doesn't show up, maybe I'll come prepared with a few jokes, and maybe you'll get picked. I'm sure that is very rare, but you never know. Shit happens.
It usually happens once a show, honestly.
Oh,
so
geez.
yeah, it's very where I'm like sometimes
Stuff
it's
happens.
fine. Like stuff happens. Like in Pittsburgh, I was like, somebody didn't show up, and I was just like, are there any comedians in the audience that I don't know about? And then like 10 people raised their hand, and I was like, oh goodness, like there's a ton. So yeah.
That's cool.
It's a good, we always call it like comedy prom or comedy Christmas, because it's just like a lot of comedians getting together, people that haven't seen each other in a long time.
Yeah, and getting to know new comedians. We don't know any
Yeah.
stand-up, so we was like all these. They look like kids. They all look like they were in their mid-20s, and we're in our mid-40s, and we were like, oh my God, they're so young. But yeah, very funny. They were awesome. The other thing that I have to talk to you about, at least a little bit, is your recent appearance on The Price is Right. Holy crap.
Yeah.
We saw your Instagram
How
post,
fun.
and I mean, spoiler alert, Emily, we watched all of your portions of the episode. It's free on cbs.com or something like that. And not only are you the first guest picked by the announcer, you were literally the first one, but you won the whole damn episode. And we were like, what? How? This is a childhood dream of everybody's. We were Sharon was like, I would stay at home sick or fake sick just to watch The Price is Right. So like, this is astounding to us that you even got on the show, let alone won the damn thing. So I don't know, like, what can you tell us about the day? Like, what did you win, and what's the future looking like?
So, well, thank you, and it was so fun, and I still can't believe I won a Showcase Showdown. Sorry, I keep checking outside because my dog is out there, but I don't want to open the door. Anyway, sorry, very good audio. But I actually taped it back in May, and that's significant because my unemployment had recently run out, and I'm a TV writer, and after the strike, my show was canceled like so many other shows, and new shows were just not popping up, and it's been a desert. And there's like this little saying going around Hollywood, survive till 25, and we're all hoping that the industry is going to pick back up, but like they're not making nearly as much scripted TV as they were before the strike. And so there's so many of us just really struggling financially right now. And I won the Showcase Showdown, and I was like, oh my God, like this is so helpful because I'm broke, or I'm going to be broke soon. And I wasn't able to tell anyone because if like it gets out on social media that you've been telling people, they can take all of your winnings away. So I had to wait until October 11th, the day that it aired, to post about it or say anything. But yeah, so I am just getting to the point where like I can pay November rent and then I am totally screwed. So the fact that I won $32,700 worth of prizes is just, it's like it couldn't have come at a better time. And so now my big job is to figure out how to sell all this stuff, because what I won was a bunch of things I can't use.
Yeah.
We call it the Midwestern Dad Pack, or I've heard the lesbian honeymoon. It's a
Nice.
it's a speedboat and a riding lawnmower and a patio set and a freestanding hammock and $103, weirdly.
$103 was part of that? Okay.
Yeah, because I lost the game that I played before the showcase. But whatever rounds you get through, you get the cash equivalent of the items that I was trying to guess the price of.
Okay.
So yeah.
So those were like 1960s or 1970s products that you were trying to guess the value of. That game was hard.
Yeah.
We were trying to.
That game was so hard.
The prices were so much higher than I was thinking, and dude, you did fine. You lost it, but you did fine, because like I would have lost even earlier than you did, because my guesses were way off. So.
Okay, that makes me feel good, because I am a little embarrassed, but I'm like, Who knows the price of things? Okay, for anyone listening to this, just think about how much you think a calculator cost in 1974. You're going to be mind blown.
Yeah, you said in the episode, you were like...
$70.
Yeah, you were like, I don't even know how much a calculator costs now.
Yeah, I haven't seen a calculator since high school. Like,
it was $70 back then. In 1974,
that's like $300 or something insane. Like, and it was just a basic calculator. It wasn't like a TI, whatever, 83 or whatever we used to use. Yeah. Okay, but yeah. So,
and I think one of them was like curlers, and I was like $5. Yeah. But it was like $20 or $30 or something like that.
Well, it must have been 33, because it's whatever equals $103 for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I also I don't do my hair. I'm really bad at hair stuff, so I just I wouldn't know what curlers cost now, and so.
Oh my God, that was a hard game. And what was the first item, or the item that you won to play that game? Was it a hammock?
It was a freestanding hammock, yeah.
So is that one of the items that you want to sell as well, or are you going to keep that one?
Yeah. But that one, yes, I want to sell it. I'm not a hammock girly. I'm not relaxed. I wish I were the type of woman who could lay in a hammock and read a book, but these are things that I'm not sure I'm ever going to achieve. I have read a book, but I just don't make time for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh yeah. I feel your pain. I'm like a constant working, doing something kind of person.
Yes.
Yeah. Obviously you are as well. Are there any other highlights of that day, that recording, other than winning the showcase? Any other highlights from just that whole experience?
Yeah, something. Well, first of all, Drew Carey was awesome, and he was being kind of raunchy, and during
commercials?
the commercials, and he was being really fun. I just feel like the audience didn't know that he loves electronic dance music and goes to festivals and does drugs, and they were like, whoa, but so I was up against, for the Showcase Showdown, I was up against an old retired Army doctor. I think his name was James or something, and he was very nice, and he in his pack, he would have won a car and designer bags full of cash and a trip to Vietnam.
Oh yeah.
Which honestly, much better than mine. But this retired Army doctor, he was telling Drew Carey, he was like, Vietnam, I don't want to go back.
Sharon literally said the same thing. She was like, he probably doesn't want to go there again.
He did not want to go. She nailed it, and it was so funny, and Drew Carey laughed so hard. Obviously not, that's not in the episode.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh my God. That I love these things that you never get to see or hear about. I love those little tidbits. Well, congratulations on winning that show.
Thank you.
Even though you really, really want to sell all the items. So, I don't know. We
I just need the
yeah,
money.
exactly. We should set up a
Yeah.
well, I guess a GoFundMe wouldn't work. We just need to get the word out that you need to sell these items.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I just sent out an email to like 1,000 people saying, please,
Yeah.
please.
We will pass along the word. Send us that email, and then
Thank you.
we'll get some people. Maybe this episode will find somebody who's been wanting to buy a speedboat for all these years, plus a hammock. Maybe they can put the hammock on the speedboat. I don't know.
That sounds
But we're-
perfect. I'll give it to you for 15%
gonna-
off. Okay, wait, I'm gonna put
Send
Yeah.
us an email.
putting this on my list.
Oh man,
Yeah.
so
Okay.
crazy. What a crazy situation. And another crazy situation is that we are now going to talk about some words in just the most fun
Yes.
way possible.
I'm so
Um,
excited.
Okay, are you ready? Are you ready for the dictionary?
Let's do it.
I should also mention that Emily was on a previous episode. I don't off the top of my head know the episode number, but I think we talked about your trivia book. Or not trivia, but I guess you call it a trivia book. Yeah. Knowledge, random information trivia book.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to put all that information in the show notes as well.
Oh, thanks. That's cool.
All right, here we go with the first word in this episode, which is, it's a good one. It's family jewels.
Okay, can I ask you a question about
Please.
this?
Yes.
When you were a kid, did you hear Family Jewels and have no idea what it was?
I don't have a specific memory of people saying family jewels and not knowing what it was, but I'm guessing maybe that was your case.
I was wondering if yes, it was. And I was wondering if it was like a universal kid thing. But it's kind of funny that Family Jewels as a term is in the dictionary. I guess I would not have guessed that. But
Yeah.
do you remember the animated, oh my gosh, the animated Robin Hood movie?
Yeah, somewhat, yeah. It's been a long
And, like,
time since I've seen it, but yeah.
There's like this whole thing, which I didn't realize till recently, but like a lot of women that are around my age, like found Robin Hood the fox to be
Yep.
very, very hot. And so
Yep.
did I. And I'm like, oh God, yes, I'm sexually attracted to a fox. Okay.
An animated fox.
An animated fox. Yeah. let's be clear.
Yeah.
Okay. Biden's America. Okay. Sorry. And anyway, so do you remember there was like all these jewels that like the king wore
Oh,
in the
yeah.
movie,
Okay.
and you had to like kiss them or whatever. And I
Right.
thought that was the family jewels.
Ah,
so
okay.
I didn't realize that it meant
You know,
testicles.
the thing, let's just say it, it's a noun from circa 1946, which is slang, and it's a man's testicles. There are some slang words in the dictionary, which I love, and I think there should be more. We should have more things like this. Yeah, I don't remember when I would have learned this, but it is a funny one, and there's no etymology, which is disappointing. But, I guess if you think about it, it's like the very precious things that create a family. That's the only thing I can think of. It's funny, though, talking about like what we thought as a child, specifically with cartoons. When I was little, I had I thought, because of cartoons, that there was a gravity switch that you could switch on and off gravity.
That's so
I remember
funny.
my dad and my sister were like, "No, that you're an idiot. That is completely wrong. You can't turn off gravity." But they do it in cartoons.
They do. That's so funny.
Oh,
I
man.
love it.
Well, but you got to protect your family jewels if you got family jewels. Yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Anything else for you about family jewels?
No, but it is somehow the 40s really. Yeah, I'm glad that it's from 1946 for some reason. It just feels right.
It is not from like the 90s.
yeah.
That would be weird. I don't remember if I was doing this when you were on the show before, but we make a sound effect here on the dictionary between each word. And so just like off the top of your head, what's the first just random sound that you want to make, like with your mouth or something? Just a sound.
Now, should it be related to the jewels or no?
I mean, if you can make it related to the jewels, that's pretty cool, but it doesn't have to be.
You know what? It's more based on what you were saying, and it's an awooga.
Okay, perfect. I love it.
Yeah.
Awooga. So you made it. So we'll, after each word, we'll make that sound. We'll go back and forth. We'll have fun with it. And that's a good sound effect. It reminds me, of course,
Okay.
of the wolf
Right.
cartoon from the day. Okay. The next word is family leave. 2 words, noun from 1981. And this is a usually unpaid leave of absence for an employee to attend to family concerns. And examples of those concerns would be a serious illness or the care of an infant. And I think it's really interesting that it says it's usually unpaid. Clearly, this has changed. I don't know, maybe since this book was made. And it's also totally dependent on the company that you work at and what the situation is and your gender and lots of things. So, like, yeah, what's your, what do you think about family leave?
Yeah, I was shocked when you said unpaid. That was my first thought too. I'm like, well, it should be paid, but also I thought that family leave, and I'm kind of dumb about this because I don't have kids, but like, and I don't pay attention to a lot of things, but
Same.
I thought family leave now was also just like if you had a baby and you didn't want to say maternity leave, you could say family leave, right? Is that how it's used now?
I think that makes a lot of sense because you can't assume somebody's gender, or if you are non-binary, using the word maternity or paternity doesn't really make sense
Right.
for you. So yeah, I think family leave makes a lot more sense to say in that situation. Um,
And non-binary family leave would be
it's kind of a
not.
mouthful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an equivalent maternity or paternity word. The letter X
Right.
gets used a lot for a non-binary situation, so you could say externity leave. I don't know.
Externity.
There you go.
I kind of like it actually.
It sounds pretty cool too. I'm going on
You know
externity leave.
what's now that you mention it, it's I hadn't put this together, but it's so ironic that it's X that's used for non-binary, like Latinx or whatever,
Mhm.
because X is also Elon Musk's website, and he hates non-binary people. So ha 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 ha.
Yeah, he can go away, please.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I like that, like they've, let's just, like, I know he's always been obsessed with the letter X, and I kind of feel like it's very cool that not the non-binary community has maybe accidentally reclaimed X to make
yeah,
it something positive.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, definitely more positive than whatever garbage he is saying.
Yeah.
X is just, I think, objectively the coolest letter, and that's why people use it a lot for different things.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of my favorite letter. Is there anything close? V is pretty cool. All those end ones.
Yeah, they are definitely
But
the more
X
unique
is
ones.
X is it probably. It's
X.
probably the one.
All right, well, your homework after this is to pick your favorite letter, and you can tell me later.
Okay.
Oh, auga.
Awooga!
The next word is family man. 2 words, noun from 1856. This is a man with a wife and children dependent on him, especially a man devoted to his family. Oh, he's a good old family man, working his butt off, making that bread to bring home to the family so his wife and 2.5 children and the dog can have their dinner. Yeah.
You know what this makes me think? I wonder if it was ever used as an insult. Because
yeah.
yeah, it's weird because when I think of family man, I think of like very like gender roles, and like maybe family man is a Republican. Maybe he's not, but it kind of skews a little that way. But like just hearing the definition, I'm like, oh, maybe that was used to be like, oh, he's so soft. He has to go support his family. I just ditched mine.
Right. He's such a family man stuck with his family, his wife and children who are dependent on him. I do like that they did add that last part. A man devoted to his family. You're devoted, so you're a family man. That's definitely more how we
Yeah.
use that word. But I could see maybe more nowadays how maybe some people use it as an insult in some way. Oh, they're a family man because there's, I don't know. It's a bit of a stretch, but I'm sure it has been used as an insult for sure.
When was the last time you even ever heard someone use family man?
No clue. Now I'm gonna think about it. Like I'm gonna look
And
out
now
for
I'm
that.
thinking, oh, is Family Guy, like the show, supposed to be like
Is it
a,
a play on that?
because he's like, yeah, like, yeah, is it? I don't know.
I
Anyway,
get, yeah, it probably is. I never thought about that. But he's a guy. He's not a man. He's a guy. I don't know.
he's definitely, yeah, like, he's not doing well enough to call himself a man.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's a funny show. Um, I got nothing else for Family Man. Oh, I think there's a movie called Family Man. I can't remember.
That sounds like a movie.
It does sound like a movie.
I'm looking it up.
When you are done looking it up, can you please make a sound effect? That wonderful one.
Okay, awooga.
Fantastic. Did you find the movie?
Oh yeah, it is a 2000 rom-com with Nicolas Cage and Téa Leoni.
Oh, wait, no, I'm thinking of The Weatherman.
I've never seen it.
He's in an, oh, I feel like I have, but I can't remember what it's about. There was also a series. Well, that's getting off track. Family Man with Nicolas Cage. Anything with Nicolas Cage is going to be interesting.
It's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Okay.
The next word is family name. 2 words, noun from 1699, and the synonym is the number 2 definition for surname, which I don't know why they don't say it here, but another synonym is just last name.
Last name.
Right?
Yeah.
I know a lot of other countries say family name or surname, but here in America, gosh darn it, we say last name.
Where is this dictionary from?
I think it's mostly American, but it definitely has British terms in there as well. But
yeah.
I think the number 2 definition for surname might also send you to last name, but I think that they should have put it here as well.
Yeah, agree.
It's your family name. You still have your family name. You got married, but you kept your family name?
Sort of.
Okay, let's
sort
hear the
of.
story.
So you are okay. So first of all, we both have great last names.
True.
But my dad was McKenna, and then his dad, when he was little, died, and then his mom remarried Winter.
Oh.
So then he ended up becoming a Winter. So my name is Emily McKenna Winter. My middle name's McKenna, but that was like my dad's first last name. Original last name. Yeah. So I'm actually not blood related to any Winter.
Which is interesting. Yeah, that happens a lot. So your biological last name, if that is even possible, is McKenna. Your family is McKenna on your dad's side, and then you became a Winter. How does your mom's name play into this? She took McKenna and then she took Winter, and then you just kept with Winter?
Well, he was already Winter by the time they met. So when they got married, she just took Winter because she was a Federico. So that's when you're gonna change. Yeah.
Yeah.
And similarly, my option was to stay Winter or become a Collegiero. And it's not a knock to the name. I mean, it's a complicated name. People get it wrong all the time. But like, 1, I'm never leaving my wonderful last name of Winter. But 2, also just like for feminist reasons, I did not want to. But
for sure.
But I also respect when people are just like, nah, I want to change my name, so I'm going to take my partner's.
Well, Sharon did take my last name, my family name, if you will, because it's way simpler than the complicated Polish last name that she had before. And she didn't want to deal with, the spelling and the pronunciation. She was like, I'm okay simplifying it to Parks.
Absolutely. What's her maiden name?
Paluchek.
Oh yeah. See, that's my mom doing Federico Winter. She's like, I'm going to Winter, man. Yeah.
Simplify. Yeah, I think Sharon's last name has 2 vowels out of like 10 letters.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And I'm so bad. And I'm Polish and I can't spell Polish names.
Polish people can't spell Polish words. Anything else about your family name? Like, so for instance, my last name Parks, it used to be Park, Parke, and I know did some
Oh.
family genealogy, and I found like a relative all the way back in the 1300s from England. I don't know. So my family came over to America in the 1600s on one of those original ships, and so like I don't know. That's just like my connection to my name, and of course like there's
Wow.
thousands and thousands all over the world. But I don't know. Do you know anything about your genealogy with your family name?
I know that at Ellis Island, my mom's name was changed from Fedorenko to Fedorenko. Not like my mom wasn't at Ellis Island, but you get it. My
Your mom's
mom's
200
fine.
years old.
And I don't really know that much else about. Yeah, no. It's funny. I like just living. I meet so many more winters than I do winter. Yeah, I don't know what that's
Yeah,
about.
I was actually trying to remember is her name Winter or Winters? And so it's like
Yeah.
it's one of those names that could easily go either way.
You're a park, so I could see why you would go immediately to let's pluralize this.
Yeah, yeah. Some people kept the E and some people lost the E and some people added the S, so it's like there's all these different variations.
Different.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
All right. That was family name and I'm going to say Auga.
Nice.
Next, we have family physician, noun from 1796, and the synonym is family doctor, which I guess was at the end of the previous episode. Yes, it was. I don't know. I guess we probably had
Do
a
we
family.
need this?
I don't know.
Do we need this in the dictionary?
It's old. It's from the 1700s. People must still have family doctors. Like the whole family goes to see the same doctor, I guess.
But like we saw a pediatrician when we were kids, so then the doctor that we saw would be different, right? Or is
Yeah.
it like the aunts and uncles and everybody all go? Nobody does that anymore.
Yeah, they don't. They really don't. I think it was, well, let's look at family doctor. It was a doctor regularly consulted by a family. So, parents and kids, they all go to the same doctor because they know enough stuff about all the ages of the people. Yeah. We don't need to use this. General practitioner, primary
Right.
care, pediatrician, yeah, those are good.
Yeah, yeah. Gosh, I guess. And now I'm thinking of olden days when like doctors used to make house calls
Exactly.
and stuff, and like that would be a true family doctor. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's like you'd see it in the old movies, but you don't see it anymore. Call up the doctor. Oh, okay.
Right.
I know his number. I know where he lives. He's gonna
Right.
come right over in the middle of the
I
night.
dated his daughter. Yeah. No, now it's like go to urgent care and suffer and have
And pay a
some-
crap ton of money.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Sound effect, please.
Awooga.
Family planning. Noun from 1939.
Interesting.
There was no
Fascinating.
planning before 1939.
I believe that.
Yeah. Even today, there's often no planning. So this is planning intended to determine the number and spacing of one's children through birth control. This is more interesting than I expected. So this is literally talking to a doctor, probably, and talking with your partner about how many kids you want to have and how much space to put in between them. That part I was
That's
not
why-
prepared for.
Like, if Trump wins, that's going to be taken out of the dictionary.
Yeah.
That's like this thing that but yeah, no, I like, obviously it makes sense that people have been thinking about this for a long time. But if you would have asked me the year that the term family planning came into existence, I would have been like 1958. Like, I just like much later.
Yeah. It is a little earlier than expected. And I think, I think it has to do with the industrialization of families, people, society in general, and less farms. Because back in the days with farms, they would just have a bunch of kids, so they had people who were to work on the farm. And then
Right.
as time went on, and then the wars and everything, and they were like, maybe we don't need so many kids, and maybe we can't afford so many kids. So let's actually sit down and plan this out.
Think
Write
about
this down.
this.
Yeah. I wonder what the birth control was like in 1939, though.
Oh my God. I have just whiskey, maybe? Here, drink tons of this. It probably won't survive.
Yeah.
That's bleak.
That's the post planning. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that would be Plan B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in Chicago, Malort.
Yep. Lots of Malort in Chicago.
I did have a shot of Malort last week after I saw you.
Yeah.
After the show. So yep.
That wasn't your first, I'm guessing.
No, and it actually hurt way less. So they must have good Malort there.
In Chicago, or just
well,
at that place?
I mean, at the den, at the den in particular, because I was like, why isn't this burning? But maybe like emotionally, I was so drained, and I was just like, I'm already in pain.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's just like, yeah.
Malort has less of an effect with people who are already in pain.
Yeah. Exactly. It's just like, oh, this is weird. It tastes like water.
You're just so used to it now. You've grown up. You've matured so much. You're like, this isn't bad.
Oh goodness.
Let's see. Okay, that was family planning. Ooga. Now we have family practice. Noun from 1969. A medical practice or specialty which provides continuing general medical care for the individual and family, and it is called also family medicine. So the family doctor probably works at the family practice.
See, also WebMD. Like, they just described Google. They're like, oh, if you have a problem, this guy, the family doctor from the family practice can kind of maybe help a little. That's it. That's the internet.
Yeah.
You have been, yeah.
They're going to get you started. Say one of the options is cancer, and you're going to freak out. So don't Google your symptoms. Don't go to that family practice.
But also, like, I do feel like these days a general practitioner is just like, all right, what specialist do you want to see? That one? Okay, bye.
Yeah.
And also lose a little weight. Like, that's all they do. It's just like
Yeah.
fat shame you, give you a prescription to see another doctor, pat your butt, and then send you on your way.
I'm only seeing you so I can get that referral to go to the specialist. So thank you. Goodbye.
It's so, I didn't, yeah. It's so messed up, man.
The whole American healthcare system is so messed up. Ugh.
Yeah.
That's a whole other.
And it's so sad now that I'm thinking about it, that it's like these things like family doctor, that it's obsolete because we've just totally ruined the system.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're not using these words for a sad reason.
Yeah, like back in the days of the family doctor, they would know you personally. It wasn't like, here, what are your symptoms? Okay, bye. They would get to know you because you lived in this little community and you'd spend time with each other and you probably went to the same church or something. And yeah, it's a totally different situation.
Sad. R.I.P. these words that still actually exist, but we don't use.
That's why we're talking. We're saving them for we're
saving them.
We're putting them into this digital format so they can live on forever. I'm going to say it's your turn for a sound effect.
Oh, yep. Awooga.
Family practitioner. This is a quick one. Noun from 1846. The synonym is family doctor, which we talked about. So there's three terms: family doctor, family physician, and family practitioner. Auga. Family room. Noun from 1810. This is a large room designed as a recreation center and informal gathering place for members of a family. I've always thought it was weird to call one room the family room, one room the living room. Like, what? Why the den? The dining room makes more sense. Did you have a specific family room that was designed for, that was a recreation center?
I mean, no, it was just the place that we went, but this does bring up a great question you brought this up, but were you a den family?
No.
Did you? Okay, I wasn't either, and I felt like den people were weird. And I was like, and like when like a mom would be like, why don't you go eat in the den? I'd be like, what the hell? I don't know why. Like, I just was like,
when I think back on that, I feel like I kind of had the opposite where I was like, oh, you have a den? That's so cool. I want a den. It feels like a lair. Like, we're gonna go and it's sunken down and there's like a big couch and a big TV or something like that, and it's like very cozy. Like, that's sort of how I imagined it. A fireplace maybe in the den. I don't know, but we definitely did not have a den.
I think that that's how I originally imagined the den, and then I went to so many people's houses whose den was just a family room, and I was like, "Dude, let's call it a family room. What are you
Right.
doing?" Yeah, I didn't realize until this moment how judgmental I had been as a child. But yes, we had a family room and a living room, and we weren't allowed in the living room. Only my parents could only be in the living room, and they would only sit there if they were like having a meeting or a fancy thing. Yeah.
That was the living. There's not much living going on in that living room.
No, it's very, yeah. How about you? Did you have a
But
living room?
Well, just to tag on to what you said, I think it makes sense though because the family room was where the family was allowed to go to, but the living room, it's not for the family. It's just
No.
for the parents. What did we have? Yeah, I guess we had a family room. We have there's like two rooms in one at my parents' house, and it gets kind of complicated because rooms shifted around a lot in my childhood. One room might be the dining room for a few years, and then the next room would be the
Oh,
dining room. Like there was a lot of rearranging that would go on.
that's
Um,
wild.
yeah, it kept things fresh. I will say though, there's one space that has a fireplace and a piano. The piano usually was in that area, so I guess that's sort of mostly the family room. Like if we're hanging out, we're usually sitting in that area. So I guess that would be the family room, and then the living room is where the TV is, which is like just next to
Whoa.
that.
That's different.
I guess is that I don't know what's
I feel
normal.
like the one with the TV is the family room. That's like the way more like that's the shittier one.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's right. So the living room is the one that doesn't have the recreation center.
Right.
So that's where you do your living, and the family room has the recreation center with the TV and stuff. Okay, yeah. I guess you've convinced me about that.
I think that they should call the living room the drinking room. Actually, my aunt just converted her. So my grandpa owned a bar, and my aunt
Ooh.
just converted her living room into a mini replica of my grandpa's bar. And I'm like, you know what? That is the correct use of a living room.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's a bold step
Yeah,
to
yeah.
take. So the living room is where you just do your hanging out and your living, and the family room is more about recreation and fun. Games, TV, stuff like that.
Like maybe colors that can get spilled on. You're not gonna put your like white furniture in there.
Yeah. It's a little bit dingier. Not in my parents' house. No
Not
room
as
is like
dingy
that.
as a den, but
Yeah,
yeah.
dens are super dingy.
I think that's what it is. I thought the den was like, I don't know why, but I thought the den was like for really old couches that like
Yeah.
were from your parents' college years, or I don't know.
It has this feeling of like dusty
Dusty.
something. Yeah. I don't know. All right.
I wonder where all these feelings are coming from. But yeah.
Right? It's like you're not even aware of it, but it's
No.
in there. It's in there. I don't think I have anything else about family room. It's just a good place to hang out. I think it's your turn for a
Is
sound
it?
effect.
Okay. Awooga.
I could have been wrong, but I don't care.
It's fine.
Next is family style. Adverb
good.
or adjective from 1932. With the food. It's a weird way to start a definition. With the food placed on the table in serving dishes, from which those eating may help themselves. I don't usually do family style unless I'm with a whole lot of people who really want to do that. What about you? Is this a thing that you love? All the big dishes and then you just take whatever you want?
I do, because I have a lot of weird eating habits, and so I very much appreciate family style. Although now that I'm like thinking about it, it is kind of a weird term for like serve yourself, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a buffet, but the buffet is on the table.
Yeah.
And-
I guess it is a buffet. I never thought of that. Yeah.
It's like we're too lazy to get up to go to the buffet. We just want it right in front of us, and we're eating like a family. Definitely a very homey, fun term. But But yeah, I know a lot of people, like if they're ordering maybe Asian food or something like that, they just get a whole bunch of different things and they'll sort
Hmm.
of eat that family style. Just take a little bit about what you want. And I think I always was like, that's weird. I aren't I supposed to like order my meal and then you get your meal? So I was like, I think it took a little bit of getting used to when I was younger to be like, oh, okay, I see. This is interesting.
Yeah, well, share. It's also a sharing thing, and
Yep.
like kids aren't good at sharing.
No, no. Oh, Sharon and I do get worried about germs. We are very aware of germs and things. So like, are you putting your hands in that thing? Or are you using a spoon? Or are you using a fork? Like, I don't know. I think about that.
Oh, so like all these people like, and you're like, okay, okay, Uncle Gary, you just watched everybody else use the tongs, and you just put your hands all over like 6 chicken cutlets. Why?
Yeah,
Like that. Yeah, I
exactly,
can see that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Uncle Gary can get his food last.
Yes, yes.
We know Uncle Gary. He's gonna put his hands in there.
I was once at a wedding with my family, and it was like there was a balcony. We were eating dinner, and it was buffet. And my mom's dangly earring fell from the from the balcony down to the chicken, and it fell into the buffet thing of the chicken. So
Wait,
anyway,
so you were on the balcony and the food was below the
yeah, we had
balcony?
gone down to like get food, and then we came back up, and my mom like,
Okay.
I guess she like shook her head, and then we had to go downstairs and get her earring out of the chicken. So like that's gross, man. Somebody had, ear chicken.
Oh man, was it at least it wasn't like mashed potatoes or a soup or something where it'd be a lot harder to get it out of that.
It was creamy, but it
Uh,
was like at least the chicken was hardish,
yeah.
whatever.
Oh, that's terrible. That is terrible. Get a new platter, please. Okay, where are we? We are at Auga. Next is family tree, noun from circa 1770. Number 1, the synonym is just the generic genealogy, just studying your family stuff. And number 2 is a genealogical diagram. Have you ever made a family tree?
I don't think I have. Have you?
Yeah, kind of. I was doing, as I mentioned before, I was kind of doing some family research, and so I was able to make like a digital family tree. This was like CD-ROM and zip disk days that I had a program that you could like input the names and it would make a family tree. For my first wedding, my parents actually made like drew a family tree of like a lot of people on it, which was beautiful to look at. And then we got divorced. Um, but yeah, I don't know.
You're like, I'm just gonna paint over that,
Yeah,
and
let's just
we're
paint over
still
that
that's
whole
good.
half.
Yeah.
Um, but it's it's cool to see old family trees. I should put on social media when this episode airs, just like images of old family trees because they were like beautifully painted tree with portraits and names of people in like beautiful script, and it was a very cool thing to look at. But they get big fast. The more generations, the more kids are had. It's like, oh, we can't keep this
Yeah.
tree up.
Wow. How far do you have that goes back?
I mean, I've lost like all those digital files, but like, on my dad's side, if we follow my family name directly, it goes to the 1300s in England. Um,
Wow.
my let's see, so that's my grandpa, my dad's dad, and then a lot of my family has actually been here for like at least 4 generations. But that's like for most of them, I only know like up to my great grandparent or great great grandparent. So like that's about the family tree as far as I could go. But like, yeah, then they have kids and then more kids, and I don't know. What
Yeah.
about you?
No, that's
Like,
crazy.
do you have a big family tree?
No, I don't know. Oh, well, I mean, like my grandpa had like 8
Oh yeah,
siblings. So, yeah. So I guess it would get kind of heavy somewhere.
for sure, for sure.
But yeah, I guess you know what? Like I just haven't gotten into it yet. I'm sure I'll hit a phase. where I get into all of it.
There's always one person in the family that probably has like all that information done. You just got to find them if you're interested.
I think it's my mom's cousin. I think she's got it. And knowing that it's there, I'm just kind of like, cool. When I need to get into that, I will.
Exactly. I don't need to spend the time to do the research. They can do it. And when I'm curious,
Yeah.
I'll reach out. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm kind of that person, I guess. Okay, family
That's
tree. It's wonderful to look up your family. Yeah?
Oh no, I was just gonna awooga.
Oh, yes,
Sorry.
please do it.
Awooga.
Wonderful. Your dog is like, what are all these sounds?
Yeah, I keep looking. She's sleeping out
Oh,
there.
good.
She's a bulldog. She doesn't care about anything.
Nice. Hanging out in the hammock that you don't have. Okay, next is family values, noun from 1916. This is
Whoa.
different for everybody, probably, but the dictionary says these are values, especially of a traditional or conservative kind, which are held to promote the sound functioning of the family and to strengthen the fabric of society. And wow, even though you did call out traditional and conservative, it sounded a little judgmental. I like.
I'm again surprised at how early this term was around. I mean, I would have again guessed 1950s, right, or 1950, or I don't know. It just feels very, it feels very like forcing people to be cookie cutter, which is what I associate with the 1950s.
For sure.
But yeah, what was going on in 1913? Like, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, like, what was it about that time period that made them come up with this term family values specifically?
Right.
Traditional or conservative kind, which are held to promote the sound functioning of the family. So to make you like, what are family values even? Like, what's I'm literally just gonna Google that. What are
I'm looking up all the things that happened in 1913.
And this was, 1916, I mean, basically the same. So this one says the beliefs, ethics, and priorities that a family shares. And so, honesty. Here we go. Here we got some specifics. Honesty, respect, responsibility, kindness, forgiveness, integrity. You got to have all these things so your family can work well together. And then our society can be strengthened. We're strengthening the fabric of society with all of these things. I mean, they're good things, I guess.
Yeah. 1913, the year I thought you originally said was before World War I, but 1916 is World War I. And so that always, like, when it's like family, you're like, yeah. Like, get together and raise your kids right so they can come fight for us. I don't know. It just makes more sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew World War I was around that time, but I didn't know the year exactly. So yeah, like I feel like it must be related to that somehow. We're worried that our sons are gonna go be killed in war. So what can we do? What's I don't know where I'm going with that.
Yeah, there's the tie between family and military that I'm not making. I didn't get enough sleep last night / don't have a high enough IQ to make, but it's like if military is the family of the nation, sort of.
Right.
And it kind of starts with having those small, like, nuclear family values, I think.
Yeah.
If you're going to buy in that your nation is a family and that you have to protect it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to tag on to that it's clear that we are all connected. I say this a lot, that like you've got your family, you've got your community, but you go bigger and bigger, whether it's the military or just the whole society. I mean, it is all a family. I mean, even almost literally, if you do that family tree far back enough, we're all friggin' related. Like, it's just science in some form. We're all related. We're all just one big, I was going to say happy family, but that's not entirely true.
Unhappy family. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I think these are good values to have. honesty, respect, responsibility, kindness, forgiveness, integrity. I'll put a link to family values on Wikipedia in the show notes. Yeah, we should use them not just for our own family, but for everybody. And the use of the word conservative is interesting there.
It's interesting that it's always been. It wasn't changed over. I mean, it's always been a more conservative leaning term.
Yeah, right. It's used more in a conservative way, I guess.
Like it's like anti-abortion, anti-gay.
Right. Right.
It means man, woman, children. Yeah.
Exactly, right. Those traditional old school things. But like, if you really are utilizing your family values of honesty, respect, kindness, then that feels more of a liberal thing to me. You're not closing anybody off.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. Okay. Anything else for family values?
No, but it is so interesting how different groups like co-opt words and then it means just totally different things. But
yeah.
I guess that's the whole point of this podcast, which I'm just complimenting the topic of the pod. So
you're just complimenting the English language.
Yeah, that too.
Auga. Now we have family way, noun from 1796. This is okay. It's condition of being pregnant. And this is used with the words in or the word a. As in the example, she is in a family way. Okay. Have you ever heard this before?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, I have. I have for real. I was seeing you being incredulous and I'm like, oh, I've definitely heard like Southern or more like, buttoned up people be like, oh, she's in a family way. It's so funny.
I must have heard it at some point, but I have no memory of hearing this. And of course, now I'm going to hear everybody saying it. Oh, she's in a family way. She's pregnant. She's got a bun in the oven.
But it's so funny because it also sounds incredibly modern to me because of the term some type of way. And it's so similar. It's just like, she's in a family way. Like, yeah. It sounds like it should be trending on TikTok, but it's not, Right.
Hashtag family way.
Exactly.
I feel another sort of modern word that gets used a lot is vibes. So I could see also like she's got those family vibes.
She's got the family vibes. That's so funny.
That's going to be the new one. Yeah, family way. It's an interesting term, but I can definitely imagine more of a Southern person using this term, a little bit more rural than the urban environment that I'm in. But yeah, it's sort of a fun way to say pregnant, but there's a lot of fun ways to say pregnant.
Do you have any favorites in particular?
I mean, the bun in the oven is the first one that comes to mind. There's also this very silly video where somebody took all of these, was it like Yahoo answers of asking about being pregnant or can you get pregnant this way, but they misspelled pregnant in every single one of them. And so the guy who was narrating this thing, he's literally just reading the questions, but he says the word pregnant exactly how it is spelled, and it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And I've mentioned it many times, but like if I ever need a laugh, I'll put that on because it's just so insanely funny.
How did they? Oh, so it's just like a bunch of different ways to spell pregnant?
They're mistakes. They're all mistakes.
They're all
so
okay.
One of them was like,
watch this. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's like, my girlfriend is pregnante. It's just how they spelled pregnant. It's good. I'll see if I can find it and send it to you.
Oh my god, thank you.
Okay, sound effect, please.
Awooga!
Next, we have famine. We are all done with the family words. This is a noun from the 14th century. Number 1.
Wow.
It's old. An extreme scarcity of food. Number 2 is archaic, and the synonym is starvation. So I guess in that one, it's like, I have starvation, I have famine. If you were starving, you would have famine, but we don't use it that way anymore.
But what about there was a famine?
Right, so that would be the number 1, an extreme scarcity of food. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see. I get it. Yes.
Then number 3 is also archaic. It's a ravenous appetite. Oh, interesting. So if you
Hmm.
are starving, then you have a ravenous appetite. So you would have the famine. Oh, he's got the famine. He can't get enough
That's so
food.
funny. But
Um,
now we just say famished. Is that a
right.
real word?
It is. It's the next word.
Ah, sorry.
And then number 4 is just a great shortage. So yeah, there's like, oh, there's no more iPhones out there. There's a famine of iPhones. What are we gonna do for our entertainment and our livelihood? We
Is it really weird that like what is fam? What's the etymology? Do we know of any?
um
Because it's family is like so full. It's all about like full and multiplying, and then famine is like the opposite.
yeah, well here. What is? I don't think there's a specific etymology for fam specifically, but this one says it's from the Anglo-French fame, F-A-I-M or F-E-I-M, which means hunger. Um, but
That's so
let's see,
funny.
the family, what's the etymology for family? It comes from the word that means household, or famulus, which means servant. So yeah, very, very different. But,
Different. So they just have different origins that happen to be the same.
I
But
think so.
yeah.
I think so. It is interesting though. It's like feels like there should be a connection, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Maybe there's not, but yeah, I don't know. Famine, I don't know. I just hope that there's it seems like there's a food famine at some point, at some place in the world at any time, right? Like
Yeah.
in the 80s there was always help. I mean, still to this day, give us $1 and help these kids in Africa because they're going through a famine, and that made me always feel really bad and guilty.
Well, it's funny, like not funny, but I mean, people used to tell me when I was a kid, like, finish your sandwich, there's people starving in Ethiopia. And then I just kind of feel like wherever your parents told you people were starving is a real timestamp of how like old you are. You know
Oh
what I
yeah.
mean? Like, oh, this was 1992, you know?
Totally, totally. You could ask people from 10 different decades, and whatever
Right.
their parents said to them, it's like, "Yep, we know you were born at this time because that's what was going on during that period."
Right. Like there's a 5-year-old out there being told to finish his sandwich because people are starving in Gaza.
Yeah.
And like that is horrible, but like you'll be able to tell like that like Ethiopia won't make sense and Gaza will make sense, you know? It's
Totally. I
crazy.
never thought about that. That's interesting. Well, you already brought it up. The next word, auga, is famish. So this is a verb. I wouldn't have thought it's a verb, but okay. From the 15th century, starting with transitive, number 1, to cause, to suffer severely from hunger. To cause, to suffer severely from hunger. So if you are famishing something, then you are taking away their food, I guess. That's to cause, to
Wow.
suffer severely from hunger. You're making something be hungry. I think that's what it means.
Yeah, so it's an action like to famish.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. I never knew that. Yeah, I guess I always thought you could only use it like I am famished. Huh.
Well, so we got a few more. Number 2 is archaic, which is to cause, to starve, to death. So that does seem similar, but this one takes it to the next level, which is you're making something starve all the way to death. You have famished it or them.
Wow.
But intransitive, maybe this is going to make more sense to us. Well, number 1 is archaic, so that one won't, but the synonym is starve. We clearly have gotten away from using this word to mean to starve. But number 2 is to suffer for lack of something necessary, as in, this is a quote from T.S. Eliot, a moment when French poetry in particular was famishing for such invention. I don't know what that means.
I think it's like it was like not growing. It was not evolving. It was just the same thing over and over.
Yeah, and there was a lack of it, I guess. A moment when French poetry in particular was famishing for such invention. Yeah, there was not a lack there was a lack of invention and creativity in French poetry. Yeah. Okay.
But I totally didn't know that you could use it that way. That's cool.
Yeah. So this is just the word famish. There's also famishment, which is a noun. Um, so the word famished is actually next, but the etymology for famish means nothing nothing very helpful here. So we're gonna move on to auga, famished, adjective from the 15th century. Same time period. It means intensely hungry. Also, the synonym is the first definition for the word needy. So something about hunger. I don't know. Starving, being starved, and then
It's like the
being
other
hungry.
side of the coin. Like you can famish someone or you can be famished.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can eat someone or you can be eaten. I don't know why I just went cannibalism right there, but
It's always good just to go to cannibalism.
yeah, just good old
Good
reliable.
old eating humans. I wonder how this happened. How did it famished, like I am famished, I am hungry, I am starving, I don't know. It's a little bit weird when you know all those other definitions, but we don't use them that way, but we do use famished still.
I think
I
it's a
don't know.
little cruel that famished sounds so much like sandwich. that's not nice.
I'm famished for a sandwich. All I can think
Yeah.
about is a sandwich when I'm thinking about being famished.
Oh, I want a ham famished. Ah, okay.
And the ham famished. Or I'm hamished.
Oh, yum.
Okay, we have one more word for this episode. It's a little bit of a biggie, and we're going to have a little bit of a conversation. Yeah, give us a good sound effect.
Auga.
So, this is the word called famous. This is an adjective from the 14th century. Number one, there's only 3 definitions, but we have a lot of synonym information. Number 1A is widely known. Lots of people know this thing. This podcast is not famous. 1B, honored for achievement. Didn't know you could use it that way. Like you're
Yeah.
getting an award, so you're famous?
Yeah, I feel like people don't use it that way.
I've never heard
Yeah.
that. Number 2, the synonyms are excellent and first rate. So you don't need to be widely known. You don't need to be getting an achievement or an award. You just are really awesome, and so you are famous.
So it would not be like weird when you see a billboard that's like, go down to Steve's Tires. Steve's Tires is famous. Steve's not lying, even if no one knows Steve, because it's not about being well known. It's about being just great.
Yeah.
And Steve's Tires are the best. So
They are the best tires.
I never thought of it that way.
I did not know you could do it like that. There's an example, famous weather for a walk. This feels super duper old. Like maybe my grandparents would have said this. Famous weather for a walk. This is the best weather ever to go for a walk.
I guess I've heard like really, really old movies or something. It's famous for a walk, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Wow.
It evolves so much in like such a relatively short period of time. Famousness is a noun. It also makes me think of when you brought up Steve's Tires, like what in Elf, the movie Elf. He's like, oh my God, they have the world's. Maybe he says I don't remember what the coffee is. It's like the world's best coffee. I don't think they use the word famous there. That sort of fell apart, but you know what I'm saying.
Yes, and that has reminded me that I need to rewatch that movie because it's been many, many years. So.
Oh man, we do watch it every Christmas just because it's so silly. So the etymology for famous comes from the Latin word fama, which means fame, and I guess I talked about that one a while ago. Let's read the synonym information. I'll just read through that quick, and then I think we need to have a little bit of a conversation about just the word famous, the idea of famous and fame, because I just felt like it needed another brain to talk about. I have thoughts, I have feelings. I talked about it a little bit with the Fame episode, but I wanted to get somebody else's opinion on just this idea of famousness. So, let's quickly read the synonym
Great.
information, which is famous, renowned, celebrated, noted, notorious, distinguished, eminent, and illustrious, mean known far and wide. That is a lot of words to mean far and wide. Famous implies little more than the fact of being, sometimes briefly, widely and popularly known, as in a famous actress. Renowned implies more glory and acclamation, as in one of the most renowned figures in sports history. So they have more acclaim, I guess. Celebrated implies notice and attention, especially in print. Ooh, interesting. As in the most celebrated beauty of her day. I did not realize it had to be about print for that one.
Well, I think they mean like it's more used in print than in verbal.
I guess, yeah.
Because a beauty, yeah.
You're not
like no
saying
one would
the
say,
celebrated something.
You're not saying like, hey, you won the beauty contest, you're celebrated, but you would write celebrated beauty queen in the newspaper.
Yep. You're describing them that way in the print. Okay. Noted, that's the next one, suggests well-deserved public attention, opposed to that attention that is not well-deserved, as in the noted mystery writer. So they're so good at being a mystery writer that they are noted. Notorious frequently adds to famous an implication of questionableness or evil, as in a notorious gangster. And I do appreciate that all these are literally just about being known and not positively or negatively.
Well, this one's a little negative, right?
Exactly, you're right. So they're all about being known, but they could be about positive, like you're talented, or you have questionable things that you do. Distinguished implies acknowledged excellence or superiority, as in a distinguished scientist who won the Nobel Prize. Eminent, you feel very good when you're being described as distinguished.
Oh my gosh.
Like when I get all my white hairs, maybe I will look distinguished, but I will probably not be distinguished. So
funny.
Eminent implies even greater prominence for outstanding quality or character, as in the country's most eminent writers. And we have one more. Illustrious stresses enduring honor and glory attached to a deed or person, as in illustrious war heroes. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's quite a bit. Yes.
So I guess to just be incredibly generic about this, like, what are your thoughts on fame, being famous, wanting to be famous, yourself or other people? Yeah.
I was really excited to get this word because I think it's such a hot topic in our this sort of generation of kids coming up, and I feel like I hear so many stories of young kids being like, I just want to be famous, and they don't care what it is that they're doing for the fame, and it's such a bummer, but it's so I get it, because people go on TikTok and they're not particularly interesting, but they kind of get good at whatever they're doing, and they become famous for kind of nothing, and so I understand why kids want that life, but it's a little sad. I'd rather be renowned than famous, I realize that they're related words, or distinguished, or or eminent. So
celebrated.
Those would be wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess all of these words are words that you can't call yourself, and you can't decide that you are. Other people have to call you it. And I was thinking about this because I was recently talking to a comedian who called themselves a wunderkind. Oh. And I was like, one, you are in your 30s, so you may have been a wunderkind, but I didn't say this. I was just like, I just wanted to throw up a little bit. And this is just comedians have the biggest egos, and I just can't believe it sometimes. And this person, yeah. And I was like, well, one, you're in your 30s, so you're not. And then two, you can't call yourself that. Like, you can't, like, it made me believe that this person had definitely never been a wunderkind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Somebody else has to call you it.
Right. If you're calling yourself a wunderkind, then yeah, you probably are not. Did you watch Ted Lasso?
Some of it, yeah.
Okay. There's a whole thing about that term where I think somebody
really?
may have actually called himself a wunderkind, and then they call him a wonder kid, and he's like, well, actually I said wunderkind, but it's like it goes on throughout like the whole 3 seasons. So, and I think that's one of those situations where
Oh,
he actually did call himself that, possibly, if I'm remembering
then
correctly.
he gets what he deserves, man.
Yeah. You should watch the rest of that.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
good
it
one.
didn't get me. You know what? I think I've just seen enough of white men failing up, and that was my issue with it. But of course, my husband loved it, and
Yeah.
I think watched all of it.
There's a
Yeah,
lot more
yeah,
to it than just that, especially. But
yeah.
so the
I had just trouble onboarding, but I do respect the comedic abilities of everyone in it, and the writing and everything. I just had a little trouble onboarding, and then never came back to it.
right, getting past that idea of like what he's going
Yeah.
through. It's just it's a feel good show. But what are your thoughts on like you being famous? Is this something that like when you were younger or even now we're like, I want to be famous? Or like like it's a very complicated world, but like yeah, what about for your own personal life?
I don't think I've ever wanted to be famous, and I don't want to be famous. But that's not to say that I don't love attention, and I've always loved attention. So sometimes you just want attention, and I'm not gonna lie, man. Sometimes attention feels great.
Yeah.
But I think the idea of losing, I don't know, like you losing your privacy, and if people actually recognized you on the street, that would be horrible. Like, you see what Chapel Roan is going through now, and how she's kind of bummed. She got super famous, she got everything she ever wanted, and she realized it sucks. So yeah, I don't think I never wanted to do stand-up comedy either, but I'm a writer, and I couldn't figure out how to break into
Mm.
TV writing. So the fact that I'm on stage is again, I was kind of a ham as a kid, but it's still sort of an accident. I was never like, I must be known. I'm just like, sometimes it's fun to go out there and get a little attention, but I'm like, at the end of the day, I just want to go home
Yeah.
and smoke a little weed and
Just hang out.
watch a scary movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're more of an introvert that sometimes likes to be in front of people.
It's weird. I feel like I'm an extrovert or an ambivert, but I also just
Ambivert for sure.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I do need alone time. And I just did, I don't know. I worked for a British Vogue editor at one point, and she was also a chick lit novelist. And this was not so long after her chick lit novel became a bestseller. And so she was not stop on the street famous, but if you were in the fashion world or this particular literary niche, you knew her. And so she would be known at the places she would go, if that makes sense. She was
Yeah.
Always respected and known. And I was like, well, that would be nice to just walk into a room and have all the people that work in your industry be kind to you. That would be great, but getting from A to B, she didn't get followed or have trouble, so I always thought that was cool. How about you?
Yeah. That's a good level of famous. The people
Yeah.
who you work with, who you respect and they respect you, you're known there. But then, yeah, you don't have to deal with all that. And yeah, that's one of the things about being famous is that it's you lose that privacy. Your private life becomes so much more public, which is one of those things that I think, even though we know that happens, people don't think about it. They're like, oh, yes, I became an actor and I'm good enough or I'm pretty enough, and so I became very famous. But now I'm like, holy crap, this is my life now. it's so weird and complicated because, like you were saying, it's so kind of tied to attention.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of those things that I struggle with, of like wanting attention. And this is like literally one of those things that it's like in my day-to-day thoughts
Yeah.
of wanting to be in the shadows, but also wanting to get attention and struggling with that, and like doing a podcast where I'm talking about my thoughts on things, but what's special about me to put my stuff out there? But so yeah, there's definitely a little part that's like, yeah, I want to be famous. I want to have some level of fame. And part of that is attention, but part of that also is one aspect for myself is that I am a very plain looking average white guy, and other than my t-shirts, you could make a lot of judgments about what I look like just by just looking at me. Which is why I like to like have pins on my shoulder bag to sort of show like my politics or something like that. But if you're famous, then people know you and they automatically like know a little bit about like who you are. And I don't know. So that's like one side of it. And then
Yeah. And they see you for that thing, you know? But
yeah,
also, so you said something so incredibly Midwestern to me, which is a way that I used to feel a lot, like what makes me so special that my voice deserves to be heard. And like I don't know, but there's a lot of worse people whose
yeah.
voices are a lot louder, so don't worry about it.
Right, for sure. Well, so that's actually kind of one of the other reasons why there's part of me that wants to be famous, is because, you know, if it leads to a bigger platform, which inevitably it would, if you're famous, you have a bigger platform and possibly also more money. And I'm like, I want to, because I don't have the skills, because I never went into being a lawyer or a doctor or like something that can actually help people. I'm not smart enough to do those things. If I have a platform, I can be one little voice to help the people who need help, who
What a noble thought. I love that.
I mean, it's like I just have this memory of being a kid and seeing some news story of like some little kid who got shot on the south side of Chicago or something. And I'm like, this world is messed up. I want to do something, but I don't know what the hell I can do. And so I'm
Yeah.
like, if I can, any moment I have where I can do something, try and change somebody's mind, I will. But like, I have no platform. I have no famousness to do that. So I'm like,
Right.
I would accept that if it allowed me to do something to help other people who
That's
need
wonderful.
it. So but again, it comes from, there's also that part of like the attention, and
Right.
I'm like, I want attention. Don't give me attention. I want attention. Don't give me attention. This is,
Right.
it's like, yeah, it's very,
It's
very,
like
yeah.
usually in our lives, the attention spigot is turned off. And so it's like, please give me some. But then, like, when you're famous, it's just turned on forever. And then you're like, like, your bathroom is flooded. And you're like, oh no, I can't turn it off. And like, that's the part that scares me.
Yeah, that's a really good metaphor for that. It's like, yeah, your spigot's broken and you have no control over it. Because yeah,
And you're
once
like,
you
I
hit
guess
that
I
level,
gotta build a boat for my own bathroom. Yeah.
yeah, then I can canoe in the bathtub. But yeah, it's like once you hit that level of those like really big people, and then of course I can't not think about like, what the hell is their life like? You know,
Yeah.
like Taylor Swift. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that level of fame is, I can't even comprehend what her life must be like. It's
That's
insane.
exactly who I was thinking of when you,
Of course.
when you were talking about it. Yeah. I mean, oh, yeah.
You can't do anything because
You can't do
people
anything.
are like throwing, they just want, it's like there's this like aura that there's not necessarily an actual difference to her. It's just her name and her face, and clearly she's talented, and that's how she got there. but like she's just another person, just like the rest of
She's a
us.
person. Yeah, it just seems like no, because of me, like, the internet and media, like people are so famous and they're known just by everyone worldwide. That seems terrifying to me. Yeah, I don't know.
It is kind of terrifying. David Bowie was right when he said everybody is going to get their 15 minutes of fame. If he were around to see really where like TikTok and all this stuff has gone, it's like, yep,
Yeah.
you get a viral video and then that's it. And then there's another, like the
Yeah.
amount of stuff that's out there is insane. So I'm in it for the long haul, reading the dictionary for 20
You want to be, because you
plus
want to be
years.
renowned
Yes, I would
and
definitely.
distinguished.
Absolutely. By the end, I will have all white hairs. I want to be celebrated, renowned, and maybe a little notorious. Maybe a little notorious.
Ooh, little notorious. Like
Yeah.
it.
Just a tad. A dash of notoriousness. I don't know. Any other last thoughts on fame, famous, or anything else?
No, but I know that fame can sometimes, and fame usually comes with a lot of money. So, just like for the record, I would take that part. Just give me the money.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
need the
yeah.
fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My audio interface decided to do a really weird thing where I can barely understand you now.
Oh, okay.
But I am so grateful that you agreed to do this. We threw this together so last minute, and I am so glad. So let's see. We've got your book. I'm gonna put a link to your book in the show notes. One Day Smarter. I think I got that right. Yep.
Yes.
Okay. It might sound a little better now. We've got. I'm gonna put a link to your Price is Right episode so people can go watch that because it's super fun.
Great.
And we've got one line. Is it one liner madness?
One-liner madness. Yeah.
Yep. And then what other things do the people need to know about from your life so you can become more famous?
Um, my Instagram is Emily MC Winter, and my website is Emily Winter Comedy. Thank you.
Fantastic. You're sounding better. So do you have any
Oh,
other?
good.
Oh, wait. I almost forgot. We got to pick a word of the episode. You have to pick a word of the episode. Today we had.
Okay.
I'm gonna reread them so to refresh your
Yeah.
memory because you definitely don't have them up on the screen in front of you. We had family jewels, family leave, family man, family name, family physician, family planning, family practice, family practitioner, family room, family style, family tree, family values, family way, famine, famish, famished, and famous. Which one do you think deserves to be the word of the episode?
It's gonna be a family way, baby. It's just so funny. I'm in a family way.
Do you want to sing a quick little song off the top of your head about family way? You could sing just the words, or you could add more words, whatever you
Oh.
want.
I'm not in a family way, 'cause I had my fallopian tubes out 2 years ago, so I'll never be in a family way. Okay, that's it.
That was beautiful and heartfelt and personal.
Thank you.
And I truly enjoyed that little song about not being in a family way. Awesome.
Thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you to you, and go check out all of Emily's stuff. Buy her book, go to her comedy shows, buy her things that she won, and hire her for a job. That would be wonderful.
You can buy me too. I'm on sale. Everything's on sale, baby.
I wasn't going to volunteer you, but you just did it yourself. All right, and
Thanks so much.
until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.